I'm Dovey from GawGamers.com, and today we have a few special guests with us, Terry and David O'Donoghue and Ben Marsh from Odd Games. Welcome. How are we today?
Thank you.
Good.
Let's start on how you guys got together and how did you come up with the idea to create your game?
So probably about 4.5 years ago, I had the bright idea that I was going to make a video game, and that I had a bit of artwork that I'd done before in 3D animation and advertising, and then my brother is a programmer, so I put the two and two together and did some research and managed to get David to come along for the journey and to start sort of looking at all the tech, seeing what's available. And probably about that time, a program called Unity had sort of come into the industry for iPhone, and I just saw a market there for it to start building games through third-party midware to make video games easily. So
cool.
We went on a hobby journey from there.
Was Monster Destruction your first choice?
No, we actually made a few games, a few tech things. We just wanted to sort of play around with the software and work out what you do to actually start building a video game. So we made a claw game where we just tried to make it. And then we thought we would do a 2D platform or a 3D platformer game, and we just made a monkey and a few enemies and started sort of laying out the levels. And
cool.
And then we got into looking at the destruction, sort of defamation technology, and we sort of worked with that, and then decided that we might make a destruction derby game, or we might make a monster truck game, and then we went with the monster truck.
Go bigger.
Yeah.
Why not?
Harder.
Terry and David, as brothers, how did you find working together?
It's really good. It's really bad, and I guess it's great because we're brothers, so we can just stress at each other, and
we can have those battles, but then the next day it's all good.
It's all good.
There's no
exactly. I have to forgive him. He has to forgive me. And it just makes. I guess it makes it a lot easier in the long run, because you know that at the end of the day, if one of you just lets you down, then you can just go, "Oi, mate, come on," and then you can just it all comes back. So it's all pretty good. A lot of the time though, it's me stressing about stuff that I need, and him telling me, "Go away, I'm doing my work. You can wait."
I guess at the end of the day, it's all about being able to come over, be able to work out challenges in the workplace. And I think being brothers, you're just sort of upfront and honest, and
you always
get
just
it
bring
over
it
and done with a lot quicker.
Cool. Ben, how did you get involved with these guys?
Yeah, look, I guess beginning of last year, so beginning of 2011. I enrolled in a program called Mega, which is run by the state government here in SA as well as in New South Wales. And this Mega program is basically designed for people to come along with their ideas and go through the steps about how you can commercialise your ideas, particularly in the digital technology arena. So I went there just purely wanting to know about how you take an idea through to commercialisation. And through enrolment, I guess you'll get up there and you do a bit of a little pitch about yourself. And David and Terry were there, and they came up and said, "Look, we're brothers, and we're building this game, and this is where we're up to with it, and we're looking for assistance with it." And I saw them up there. I thought, "Geez, here's a couple of really sort of dialed in guys, and what they showed in front of everyone there was really spectacular." And I thought, "Geez, I have to be a part of this." So, I think for probably the first 6 or 8 weeks, every night I'd sort of hustle them after our course and say, "Guys, what are you up to with this? Still look for people, and I think I can bring some value to this, and we'd love to be involved." And we just sort of worked it out from there and got together, and I guess the rest is sort of history after that period.
Yeah, cool.
I think the passion of trading game ideas really brought us together, because we just blasted each other with these just fanatical, stupid ideas, and it was just
good.
It was a friendship
thing
first
about games
for a business relationship, so it was good.
Cool. We heard you're working with the same publisher, Chilingo, as other games of Angry Birds and a few other games. So have they given you much help with advice for development?
They have. I guess we've got the title coming out very shortly, and a lot of the feedback we've had with them, I guess we've been going back and forth initially with game builds, in order to pass their QA process.
Yeah.
And through that process, we've received a lot of feedback about particular items, what to include, what to exclude. And so, that feedback has been, I think, beneficial overall for the game. It's helped us sort of, strengthen the structure to the game and, how we position it, what features we should include, what features we should perhaps exclude.
Yep.
And then, really now that it's gone through the QA process, now we're, going through the marketing development of it and coming up with a plan about, how we approach that, coming up to the launch date, what's the steps leading up to that to maximise our likelihood of, success within the App Store.
Cool. And I hope you do succeed on it. So let's talk about the actual game. What platform is it on?
So, okay, I guess I can take some over. iOS it starts on.
Yep.
So that will be coming out on December 13th.
Cool.
And essentially it will just be 3GS upwards, so including the iPads and the iPods and whatnot.
So it'll be a free one?
It's going to be 99 cents.
99 cents?
Yep,
cool.
So it's a very cheap game to buy it. Now, that's it, really. Future platforms are going to be happening, but we're not sure yet.
Okay, cool. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah.
What is the aim of Monster Truck Destruction?
Destroying stuff. No, it's not. That's part of it. But basically, we model the game after the real-life motorsport Monster Trucks.
Okay,
so you drag against another opponent. You go through a knockout round robin, basically in a race, and you also do freestyle. Now, all of this culminates in a championship. So at the end of the championship, you've done your levels, your drags and freestyle, and you win. Basically, we wanted to keep true to that real life motorsport because it's a bit different. So
a lot of people wouldn't know about the motorsport either.
Exactly, yeah.
So what other things have you put in to keep people playing?
Okay, so like Terry mentioned before about our defamation system.
Yeah.
Now, we think it's going to be one of the best defamation systems on the iOS, especially since it works on the 3GS. You can bend the fiberglass. You can scuff it up. When you're driving around, it actually flaps in the air. But also, the most important thing is you can actually snap off pieces. Now, all of this happens in real time. It's not pre-calculated. If you hit at this point, it'll look how far that you hit, how hard it hit, and it'll grab an area and just and bend it and break it.
Cool.
And that's something really cool. We think that's every time you play.
I think there's sort of a balance in terms of game mechanics and addictability in playing the game. I think it's really just a racing car game with defamation on the iPhone. With a good point system and a good time drag system, and you got your upgrades in there and upgrading all your trucks and having all your favourites from the US. There's a lot of people over there that just want to have their favourite truck, and you got to earn those points and earn the money to get all the trucks. So
that's something to aim for.
Yes, maybe in future updates we might have some new tracks and cars to keep people engaged.
Cool.
I mean, some of those names like Bigfoot is a huge name in the US. USA 1, Western Renegade, Outback Thunder is the Australian Monster Truck champion.
Even I've heard of that.
Yeah, so it's like the big names in there, awesome. It's like playing like your normal Tony Hawk's game. You get on there, it's like a skateboard. These cars. And if you see them in real life, they can do massive backflips, huge donuts. Like they are toys. Yeah. They're remote control cars, and they're just massive. So the game represents that.
Cool. What are some technical difficulties you've had with development?
Technical difficulties. Performance. Those iOS, these iPhones are so powerful. Yeah. But when you push them to the limits, they really screech to a halt. You can't leave anything to laziness. Yeah. So the average system, once again, that was a big thing, getting that to run. Our physics in our game are not your standard iOS game physics. They actually use axles as separate independent bodies. So the car is, it's just really complicated physics model, and it takes a lot of power to run it. It's like 40% of the processor to run it. Yeah. So getting that to run with two trucks on the screen at the same time on the 3GS with dynamic shadows as well, that was really tough. But we got there in the end. So
at least you overcame it.
Yeah.
Monster Truck Destruction uses Unity 3D game engine. How was it to work with?
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's the workflow on the Unity engine is great. The amount of sort of scripts and help you get within the forums. Forums are really good for Unity. A lot of back-end support as well. So
cool.
in terms of artwork, it was just simple process to get all that, the 3D models and the artwork in. But coding-wise,
well, coding-wise, I mean, when I started, it's 4 years ago. I was an application programmer. I worked in Visual Basic, in Excel and Access. That's like the most basic programming you can do. And in 4 years, I've been able to grow with Unity and learn how to push a ball across the screen to making a car move.
Yeah.
So it's like Unity allows you to ignore all of the boring how to render stuff, how to make sound play, how to multiplayer, right? And focus on the actual features of the game. So, being a full complete engine, if you're a beginner, you've got to use Unity or something similar.
So there was no other engines that you wanted to use?
There was talk, but it wasn't in 3D yet, and I don't think it ever ended up being it. And there was a couple other ones that hadn't developed as much as Unity back in 2008. So
I guess another thing as well with Unity, you can build, when you build a game, you've got to build tools around the game. So you can build it faster. With Unity, they allow you to build your tools around the editor. So you don't have to build your external tools, you can actually build it all in Unity, so it's just one complete package. So everything's, it all just makes sense.
Yeah.
So and the other benefit, I think, having built in Unity is that we can go to different platforms, I think, rather quickly and easily as well. We don't have to sit down and rebuild a whole new game again. The crux of it, we can take it, a bit of spit and polish again and refine it, and then we can
especially Unity I've looked at is actually massive. They can a lot of online games where you can roam around and they use a hell of a lot of them. So that's cool. The physics, you talked about it just before. They're pretty awesome. So why don't you tell us more about them?
They took forever to get right. Me and Terry had so many discussions, arguments about what it should be, how it should work. I think what happened was we would get to a point where, yes, we're happy with it. It works, it bounces, but then it wouldn't do a backflip. So realistically, I mean, the model is simple. It's a real simple suspension setup. It's got a tyre setup, and then you've got your independent ridge bodies. But the problem we had was that how much should it bounce, how much should it sink with the tyre, and how much should it rotate in the air? And all it was just tweaking. But it took months.
It took months to get that real sort of game feel in the monster truck, arcing up and the speed. You had to speed it up, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was. We kept breaking it, but we got it.
How many monster trucks do you have on the game?
30.
30.
They're all real too.
Any favourites?
Boogie Van. Probably Bigfoot 18 for me.
No, I'm split actually between USA 1 and Rizlo. I think those two trucks are really good for me.
Yeah, cool.
What kind of upgrades do you have for your monster trucks that people can use?
Yeah, look, within the game, I mean, you can go into the garage as we can see here, and you can go through, you can upgrade your engine, your springs, your transmission. There's also the, what do we call it, the air intake?
I think we just called it intake, to be honest. We're not mechanics. So.
So the intake. So there's 4 or 5 specific areas that you can upgrade, and there's different levels of upgrades you can do within that. And what that does is increases your overall power, for your monster truck, so you can go out and go harder, go stronger, jump high. Exactly right.
Yeah, and also within it, we've got a in-app purchase for 99 cents, which upgrades the car up to a absolutely insane amount of power. So
it really is a toy.
Power.
Yes.
With the upgrades though, we decided we're sick and tired of iOS apps having these icons as upgrades, buy an engine, but it's only a number. So we went, you know what, we're going to model them all. And you can go in and mix and match them, have a big, massive
so the engine
intake
actually
on a little tiny one. So you can mix and match them. So you can also want to set it to it.
And there's a real difference. So once you do the upgrades, you go out there and you run around, and you can actually notice the power increase. It's quite substantial. And I went in there and a lot of the demos that we've played, of M.T.D, you're going in there and you go, I'm going to go max power, but it's actually quite a handful when you actually go through and max the upgrades out. I find I can't actually use it effectively, so I'm sort of retarded back a bit, and then trying to build my skill set up, if you like, to match it.
So you can actually tell. That seems good. So we met at AvCon, for which of those who don't know, it's Adelaide's anime and video game convention. You guys had a setup in the indie game room. So what was your response like from AvCon?
Yeah, look, we had quite a few people passing throughout the day, and it was interesting to note that we actually had repeat I guess players come back, throughout the day. People want to keep coming back and playing again. I think some of the best feedback we had was positive feedback, which was quite good. But in particular, I guess, was having the tight controls. So people really liked the realism of the controls. It was very, I guess, quick to react, and they felt that it was very reflective of the actual monster trucks out there. So you're turning left, you're accelerating, getting the torque right when you're trying to go over a jump or trying to climb a mound or a caravan or something. They felt that it was fairly realistic of what actually happens.
Cool. What was your AvCon experience like in general?
Loved it.
Loved it?
Yeah. It was real high. It was a great experience. It was kind of like our first time we went out there and went, we've got something to show you. Please play with it. Let us know.
Yeah. So good to get that feedback when you're in the sort of just early stages, and then this year going in and with a finished product and get that feedback. I think the indie community to get the feedback on the game by a massive amount of people was awesome on the day.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think it's beneficial. Like AvCon, you've got the general public coming in, so you get that gamer feedback, but then you've also got the other developers who'll wander over and have a go at your game, and it's great for networking from that perspective. So I encourage other developers, indie developers, if you're out there, get along to AvCon and network with like-minded people. It's very beneficial.
Of course. What's next for you guys?
Well, we're currently working on our next title called Chakra, which features Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player, which a lot of people remember. He's a huge guy with a big personality, which fits really well with the title that we're going to be developing at the moment. So we're anticipating that's going to be ready for launch by July 2013. That's going to be another racing title. It's going to be quite unique. It's really set on a global stage, so you're going to be going and driving in particular countries around the world. There's going to be a lot of vehicles in there, a lot of upgrades to do to your vehicles, a lot of boss battle challenges to go undertake. It's got some great soundtracks in there already that have already been developed. So if you buy the game next year alone just for the soundtrack, it's fantastic.
Will do. Cool. What games are you guys playing at the moment?
I'm playing the Hat Simulator, Team Fortress 2. Completely different from Monster Truck Destruction, but it keeps my time. I think I like it because it is very appy. You play it and you see all these little microtransactions everywhere, and I guess it fits in with what we're doing, and it's just fun to play.
Team Fortress 2 as well. Playing a little bit of that. David. Maybe just playing, the apps on the iPhone. You tend to, as an app developer, you want to see what other people are playing, so you get stuck into some of those games.
And there's a lot out there as well. So.
So Need for Speed, all the car games, you sort of get stuck into those. Not a huge gamer myself, but Team Fortress 2 and car racing games. So.
Cool.
And for myself, playing Just Cause 2 on the PS3. I'm sort of getting a lot of time lost there when I do have spare time, because it's a big open world environment. You're just running around and having lots of fun for ages. And then also playing M.T.D. To be honest, I'm actually playing that a lot, even though you think that we'll probably be over it, because we've been developing it for quite a while, and been playing a lot of beta versions. I personally find it really addictive, and it's one of my favourite racing titles at the moment.
Cool. I like playing it as well. It's a really good game. What are your all-time favourite games?
All-time favourite for me, I think, is Pitfall. Pitfall really got me started in games and really addicted, I think. So, trying to think back, so it must have been back in late 80s, I think, when we had the sort of first PCs coming out. I think it might have been... No, I think it was like an XT computer. The first IBM was like an XT that we had, and I think it had two colours. I think it was green and black. And then later on I ended up upgrading... no, that's right. I had a 4-colour screen. It was an EGA. That's right. I think it was 4 colours, and I was really excited.
You're old.
And then later on, upgraded to like a VGA screen. I almost lost the plot. I thought, how good is this? But Pitfall is a very basic game. I think it might have been even something that Codemasters developed originally. Back in the day, and it was very simple. You just had like a character just dropping through like a maze, and there wasn't a lot of graphics there. It was just sort of blanketed on either side, and basically just got narrower and narrower and narrower with this little character going through. Very basic, but highly addictive. I loved it. I played for ages.
I
And
think that's
what
the
got
base
me.
of most good games is
Yeah.
being addictive.
That's right. And, that got me hooked into gaming. I think I've just followed games ever since.
I know it sounds a bit generic, but I mean, first game for us was Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's a champion.
So first console, first game that we got in the house that they got. I mean, I think we had a 64 and Atari beforehand, but it's nothing like going into the shop and buying your first game.
Yeah.
Because they were sort of hand-me-down. So
Yeah.
played Mario Brothers, world after world, and that was a lot of fun. Favourite game, probably Duke Nukem. Sort of the PC Windows 95 days.
Yes.
A lot of those game titles, Earthworm Jim, all those sort of things you remember back in the day.
All the ones you got in shareware were free.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. And Grand Prix Racing.
Well, you're supposed to be playing Duke Nukem though. I mean, like, I didn't get to play that until like 14 or something. Is that right? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
My cousin had it or something. He was playing it there.
Weren't supposed to.
Mum didn't know about that.
actually, I remember we used to go to a friend's place, well, a friend of our mother's, and the husband there would actually say, "Look, you can play Doom." We were real young. We're not supposed to play Doom.
Yeah.
If you get 1,000,000 points in pinball, so we would sit there for hours playing pinball, and we got it, and he let us play it. So, but I'd have to say that as a programmer, my favourite game is Roller Coaster Tycoon. It was the first game I actually went in and clicked on the credits and find out who wrote this game. It's awesome.
So that's something that got you interested in making your own game?
It did. It was one guy. One guy made that game.
Yeah.
In assembly. Who does that? But it's definitely.
Cool. Where would you guys like to be in 10 years as Odd Games?
Look, I think strategically for us, we'd definitely still like to be involved in the mobile market.
Yep.
We believe that that's probably the where it's at the moment, and where it will continue probably for the next 5 to 10 years.
It's mobile. It's people are always doing it on the trains.
That's right. So,
stoplights even.
So it's interesting. So I think when you look at game history, the game genres have always been consistent for the past sort of 30 years. With the spread.
Yeah.
The thing that's been different has been the delivery of games, to people. So originally started with arcade machines.
Yeah.
And it's evolved now, I guess, to mobile devices.
Yeah.
So I think that the genres will always probably participate in or playing will be sort of like your racing, and then we'll expand out from that and have a few more sort of creative, I think, titles. We've got a few things in the pipeline that we want to work on that aren't just racing related. So definitely operating in that field, and hopefully 10 years time we'll still be based in Adelaide, I'd say. I think we're always going to be Adelaide boys, and I doubt we'd ever sort of relocate from Adelaide.
Yeah.
But I'd assume by then our team would be bigger, would be be able to get multiple titles out throughout the year.
Yeah.
Mobile will probably be our core, but we'd also be distributing and making games for other platforms as well. So
looking at consoles.
Look, I don't think so. I think unfortunately for the console world, I think it's had its heyday.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. I'm not sure whether David Terry agree.
It all depends, all on the scale. I think when you say, you want to be odd, where the odd games want to be in the future, well, we want to be odd games.
Yeah.
And the console market, you need huge backing and a lot of people and money. And at the moment, we're just sort of staying in the nice little easy indie pocket of the app world where there's money to be made and a lot of fun to be had in that world in a smaller sort of team sense.
Also, the 80-20 rule applies here. You've got to do 20% of the work for 80% of the benefit, and if you've got to put in 4 years into 2.5 years into a console title and it bombs, you could lose a company doing that.
Easily.
So I think stay lean, start making awesome niche apps. Stick with what's going to work for a small team, I think.
But you never know what the console market's going to be like.
Yeah.
And what it will be in 10 years' time.
So, guaranteed. Next consoles that come out, the Xbox, PS3, it's going to be indie driven. There's going to be a web store you can get on and just download indie games.
Yeah.
And we'll enter that if we can.
Yeah. Cool. You can buy a lot of stuff on the PS Store and Xbox Live and everything, and little arcade games
Xbox
and
Live.
So that might be where it's going, but who does know? Do you have any advice for people looking to get into independent developing?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. I think definitely from my perspective, not being a developer, I guess a programmer or an artist. Unfortunately, I lack those skills. So for me, as I guess an outsider to that, I think it's just getting out there, networking, find out, you know, like-minded people, as, you know, I've sort of done in my story, you know, get out to places like Mega, get involved in those communities out there, and just see how you can get involved. You know, I've got a bit of creative mindset to me, and you know, that's what I can bring in, you know, contribute and try and explain that to Dave and Terry the best that I can, so then, you know, they can take that on board and, you know, put that into the game mechanics. So
I think Ben's put it right. I mean, for the people that do want to group up and make a game, it takes a bit of, you know, an artist, a programmer, and a business head, and that's the biggest thing. If you want to get into gaming and you want to build video games, like, we're really passionate about having each piece of the puzzle, and I think with us three, for what we want to try and work at has worked for us. So if you want to make a team, you got to have every piece of it to be able to build the game, and that's probably the number one thing.
Well, when you're first starting out, from a program's perspective, it's all about starting small, biting off small chunks, because if you make the next MMO, and programmers, do not make an MMO first off. I'm sick of seeing people failing on them. Make Mario Brothers, all right? First one. Don't make a racing game as your first game.
That's good advice. Where can people keep up to date with what Odd Games is doing?
Yeah, look, they could, probably the easiest way is to check us out on our website, you know, www.oddgames.com.au. Cool. You know, we keep fairly active on there, and you can see, you know, what we've released and what we're working on at the moment.
Yeah, and find Monster Destruction on our Facebook as well. Join our friends there. And
cool. Awesome. I'd like to thank you all for sharing with us your time from your busy schedule, and we at GawGamers wish you the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
We'll let you get back to making more awesome games.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.